All right, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Point Three Podcast, your favorite trio of hosts, your friendly neighborhood Spider Brando, Lou, Hero Scroll. We are here today on this lovely Wednesday to talk about a lot of good things. Thwip Media has been waiting in the wings and said it best. Big show tonight. We have a huge show tonight. We are going to be covering a range of topics from your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. We're going to be talking about some Daredevil. We're going to be talking huge spoilers for Captain America, Brave New World. So if you haven't seen it, just listen to what we're saying because it's going to make you potentially want to see it more or hate it. Who knows? But stick around to find out. But we're going to end the show today talking about Daredevil Netflix series Look Back. How did we remember it? What do we think of in preparation for the Disney Plus Daredevil Born Again series that will be hitting our streaming platforms here shortly? So without further ado, we are not going to waste any more time. If you're watching this live, we appreciate you. If you're watching this recorded, we also appreciate you just as much. Head on over to our Discord because we've been talking about a lot of these things throughout the last week or so. So Discord eats first. Definitely jump in there, drop your thoughts. But Spider Brando, you know that we talk about three really important things, right? Keep watching, keep reading, keep nerding out. Take us through keep watching.
I got a hefty keep watching this week. I got, obviously, if you can't tell, Spider-Man, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. We can get into that in a little bit, but I'm gonna preface this with a show that I was talking about, Violet Evergarden. Highly recommend that. I just want to throw it out there. I maybe cried during episode 10 last night or after episode 10. Beautiful anime, but without further ado, I don't want to get into anime too much. Invincible, keep watching, phenomenal. That episode 4 came out last week, and I really enjoyed it. I got to see stuff that I've been waiting for all since like season 1 to happen, of just like fan theories kind of come true, and the season is just cooking so hard, and I think it's better than season 2 already. I'm excited for tomorrow's episode.
Yep.
So I'll probably be doing another Discord watch party every Thursday when they come out. I'll always be streaming them as long as I'm around. But I'm excited for episode 5. What are you guys feeling for it?
It's trending upwards for sure. So I'll keep it like non-spoiler, but at this point of the show, I definitely say if you hopped off for season 2, hop back on because this almost feels like I almost wish that they would have kept this in season 2. I think it would have made it like feel a little bit better to kind of end off in ways. But yeah, definitely stick around for our big review for the finale. I think that'll be really good. But yeah, if you've been waiting on this, don't jump onto it now because I think it'll be pretty sweet. And yes, the OP boys have really been coming out full force lately. So,
but without further ado, I want to talk about Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man a lot during this segment. Not a lot, not too much, but I watched episodes 9 and 10 before we went live, and I freaking love this show. I said after watching episode 10 that in our Discord, like I said earlier, Discord eats first, that this show might be one of the best Spider-Man projects across any medium. After watching episode 10, I still feel that way, but it's got a lot of pressure knowing of what's to come, what potentially to come in season 2, and we'll see if it could live up to season 1. But I genuinely thought season 1 was really good. I don't want to spoil too much. I know the finale just came out today. But it's just they set off a lot of stuff for season 2 that is very intriguing and interesting and could like last to like keep the hype going for a while. And it was just a really good finale. It was just phenomenal show. So many references to other Spider-Man projects. There is even like a little, I'm not gonna say it. There's references to a lot of Spider-Man projects in here. You get a couple like, oh, is that like a Toby mannerism, or is that like an Andrew mannerism or dialogue? And then obviously with it kind of being a branched off 616 or MCU, you get a lot of Tom kind of like references and similar stuff. Like even in episode 1, you get to see him carrying the DVD player that you get to see Tom carrying around in Homecoming or whatever. I think it was a DVD player, Blu-ray player, some random device that you see Tom in Homecoming or Civil War with, and you can see that same thing in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Just stuff like that that kind of shows that they really care about the synergy of the brand Spider-Man that Sony never did with any of its other IPs or non-Spider-Man stuff. So overall, I would say it's a 9.5 out of 10. I was gonna give it a 10 out of 10, but they did something, something interesting with the final scene that I gotta notch it down for a little bit. Nate knows what I'm talking about. We were chatting a little bit and some spoiler stuff, but I don't know. It gives me there's one storyline into next season that kind of scary, but then I found out something else. So the show's really cooking. It's like the X-Men 97 of Spider-Man for animation right now.
Dude, I wholeheartedly agree with that. And like looking on the outside of the bubble that I believe Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is, I mean, I was geeking over X-Men 97 for sure. Like it could do no wrong for me. I'm very curious because I know we have a lot of Spider-Man fans in here. No, Spider-Man is not my favorite hero across all mediums, and it's not my favorite Marvel character, but it's up there for sure. What's up?
It's definitely not mine either.
but yeah, all the merch says so. But I'm curious, guys, because if you go back to when episode 1 and 2 came out, we said there's one thing that felt off to me, and it's like this feels like there is an overt amount of MCU references for a show that's technically not connected in the MCU, but it feels in a lot of ways like they want it to be. Oh, we lost one of our trio members. He's like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I'm out. I don't even want to hear about it. A question for you guys in the chat and Spider-Brando specifically. There is a part of me. There's a part of me. I'm not saying it is, but there is a part of me in the back of my head that feels this show is almost like cash grabby in a way because of all the references from an MCU perspective, kind of like from an Infinity Saga's perspective, which is like, that's the goated MCU. And then you had the second piece of it, which is kind of tying into all of the Spider-Man characters. And then you also have a lot of like comic book callbacks and stuff, which I can see why that's really fun for a lot of people. But at the same time, it almost feels, and also it kind of feels like there's some like Into the Spider-Verse, like some more Miles things and kind of like vibes for it. It sounds cool on paper, but do you guys feel that there's an element of this that it's just like it feels too try hard in a lot of ways?
I would say it's hard to answer that. It's like yes and no, because they do really piggyback on certain references and like nostalgia, I guess, or Easter eggs to build stuff. But there still is a lot of like freshness and uniqueness on its own. Even the animation alone, it feels like it's just like a comic book come to life. So you get that feeling of kind of like reading. And it's hard. It's still really hard to talk about this without spoilers because I want to reference like so much of like not twists, but kind of how they spun things differently. No pun intended.
Yeah.
And it was just, I do think there is some recency bias though. I can't lie. But to offset that though, there wasn't much hype going into the show, so we weren't really
100%.
expecting much out of this.
100%.
We are all on record of being like, it's just gonna be Spider-Man show. Like I wasn't expecting to give it a 9.5 out of 10 by the end of it. Not even close to expecting that. So I think the recency bias is there, but it is it does a lot on its own to kind of differentiate itself, in my opinion. And it does introduce a lot of characters that a lot of like deep cut, or not deep cut, but a lot of characters that the people that really just watch the MCU wouldn't know. Like how many people know who Lonnie Lincoln is? or even who Nico was. Nico's
Mhm.
not original, right? No, but or even Pearl. There's so many characters in that show that like got to feel like their own character
Mhm.
and kind of like be different from the MCU and Tom, Toby, Andrew, and Miles, and Spider-Man PS5, but still gets to like appreciate the legacies of all those.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen a range of things. I've seen people say they don't like it because it references too much and it's too obvious. But I've also seen people be like, "This
Because
literally is a
X-Men
love letter."
97 kind of did that too, though, with all the Easter eggs and references it had to its comics. And people were complaining about that too, of them being like, "Oh, they went through all these comic issues so fast."
Yeah,
But the show's still freaking good.
yeah, yeah,
Do its
yeah.
own thing.
I think it's that element of like it kind of comes down to the preference in a lot of ways to the characters and like what do you focus on versus what do you overlook versus what is kind of new and fresh, because that's the hard part and I think the really cool part about all of this for me personally, and I have watched about 70% of the show at this point of recording now. um it feels like a really good season of a what if, in my opinion, where they kind of take, I feel like at some point there is this Peter who there was a 30-minute episode of this and people are like sick, and then they made an entire series.
I can see that. But I think that's cool. And like this is like what we wanted What If to be, is to show us like
Yeah,
stemmed universes
yeah,
like
yeah,
this.
yeah.
And they also were able to actually I don't know where I was gonna go with that. They It still feels like, one, I'm very happy they changed it from not being like they changed it from freshman year. I'm
Hmm.
so happy they changed it for
Hmm.
that because
Hmm.
I think it works good that it feels independent like this. So like it can do all the references and play around with stuff, um, but not have to like to me when I watched it, I'm like, damn, this is what the MCU could have been if the Spider-Man IP was with Disney or with
Hmm.
there the entire time.
Hmm. Hmm.
And in one of my review videos, I even just referenced like just imagine you get to see Ross and Norman talk in an episode one day. I don't care. It's a mini spoiler.
Yeah, yeah.
Imagine you get like a little reference to Norman Osborn in Brave New World, where you just had a Ross out there and stuff
Well,
like that.
and
Which is kind of like a what if, obviously. But I think it's cool.
I will say,
I'll recency bias it.
no, dude. I mean, I think this will stick for a while. I mean, I would be highly surprised if this doesn't stick around for a while. And when season 2 comes, it's going to feel great. But I will say, to your point, I think you did make a really, really, really strong point there. And kind of going back to, and this is something that we kind of want to touch on, but like, I do think that this show shows you the power of animation and how a really good story can be told, but also it gives you a world that can be more interesting and greater than a live action world for that reason of the references. Like, I will say that kind of stuff did feel organic and fit into this show. Um, but it just goes back to like animation possibilities are endless, and it just opens up like a whole side chapter of Marvel animation conversation to like the best, in my opinion, the best shows are their stronger non MCU, non what if shows. Like
I don't have anything to really tie him down to.
but yeah, that's the only thing. This is the last thing I'll say. It doesn't have anything to tie it down to, but where X-Men 97 kind of harkened, I think, more like streamlined A to B of like old nostalgia from the old series plus comic. It's the MCU heavy lean on this that does kind of throw me off a little bit in a lot of ways, to where they're playing with it to be like, this is what Tom could have been. It's like, it's not what Tom is. And like, I think from that perspective, I kind of don't fill the gap from the MCU perspective for it, where I feel like this is a non MCU show that has a lot of MCU references.
I get that. I think I'm just too much of a Spider-Man fan that doesn't bother me and as much as it would you. If that makes sense.
I wish other shows got treatment like this though. Like I do see this, and there are points where I think like even the Scorpion episodes and whatnot. And I'm like, bro, how are you even gonna like? How is it even a question that like the MCU Scorpion is that much butt, and then you have this friendly neighborhood Spider-Man? I'm like, it doesn't really seem that hard to me, in my opinion. Like it was the warehouse scene and stuff was legit. Like that was legit.
Dude, the Scorpion gives me Spider-Man 2 Craven PS5
But like,
vibes. Not as hard as Craven, but like once you catch up, you'll realize. I think you'll realize.
listen, games and animated films should not blow live action out of the water the way that Spider-Man, in my opinion, has been doing that in comparison to its live action counterparts, even No Way Home included. That was pure nostalgia bait. Like you take those three out, I'm sorry, like it just pales in comparison to a lot of other things we're getting. But
I could agree with that.
I'm happy the show exists more so than I thought going into it. Like January, I was like, man, it's gonna like whatever. It's just a Spider-Man show. But knowing that it has been peak for a subset of fans, I think is always going to be a good thing for a group of fans to rally around something like this. That it's there. I just hope that they do some of these things for other characters because we see it's possible.
Hulk, cough, cough.
Legit.
Oh, they should. That is exactly what they should do. Is freaking a Hulk show. Get people to love him again.
That'd be disgusting. Oh my gosh, that'd be disgusting. I'd love that. Love it.
We need it.
All right. Spider Brando, any other thoughts on it? No, it's a lot,
I
but
would say it's definitely worth a watch. And I'm probably gonna start rewatching it with my friend on Friday.
fair enough. Fair
Taking
enough.
a whole Marvel binge on Friday. I'm so excited.
Isn't it funny like how hot Marvel is right now, but it feels like Marvel isn't hot because the MCU is not as hot in a way? Does that kind of like make sense?
It does, especially with my friend group. Like after we all saw Brave New World, and they critiqued it very, very, very hard, and have been very like on Marvel, like the rest of the internet has. And it's just, and then when I go to talk to you guys about it, it's so different. It's weird.
We love those mixed bags.
Hooray.
Should we carry on with Heroes Keep Reading section?
Yeah, let's do it. Keep reading. Hopefully my internet doesn't crash out while I try to talk about it. But Daredevil. You need to keep reading Daredevil. That's what I've been doing in preparation for Daredevil Born Again. No Adam Warlock ult needed.
Rise, my friends.
Yeah. No, in all seriousness though, Daredevil Born Again, the miniseries, really, really great stuff. Read it, loved it. Won't spoil it for, those who haven't read it. But if you want to kind of stay up to date with us, we are going to be doing a future episode on it. So make sure if you want to be a part of it, read it. But yeah, reading that Frank Miller's work on Daredevil is absolutely fantastic. Both his original run and then his later stuff. I have both of the Omnis, and I'm rereading the first one and then going to do the second one, which does include Born Again as well. So I'll get Born Again twice in that time. And I read the first Daredevil Miller Omni last year again for the first time in a long time. Fantastic stuff. I will probably finish it by the end of this week, to be honest with you. That's how good it is. And like, it's just, and Lou, I think you've read it as well. It's just something you eat through. Like, it's so easy to just tear through all of it. So I'm curious to see what they're going to take from this, put it into season 4 or Born Again. I wonder what they're going to take from modern Daredevil with Chip Zdarsky's run. It'll be interesting to see what they do there. That's another run that I think if people want to read a more modern Daredevil run, read that one. Read the Muse stuff, which I think is Bendis's run, if I remember correctly. All around, like, you can't go wrong with reading any of the Daredevil runs because they're all pretty good in their own right.
Mhm.
So yeah, Daredevil. That's my keep reading.
Love it. Love it. And then rounding out the three most important things that we always keep doing, we have keep nerding out. Oof. Boy, oh boy, are we all nerding out about Marvel Rivals. And yesterday was super cool. We got the mid-season update and first looks of creators facing devs using Human Torch and the Thing. Oh, that was super
Whoppering
cool.
time.
Yeah, man.
That was
That was really cool. So shout out to what, 2 days from now? You get
to
the drop?
Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know where to find the Point 3 podcast on Friday.
Online on Marvel
Online.
Rivals.
Try. I won't be there.
Oh shoot. It's all right.
Okay, I will be doing Marvel stuff.
No, you won't. If it's not Marvel Rivals, you won't be doing Marvel
Yeah,
stuff.
the real Marvel. The real Marvel.
Okay, I'll just set them up downstairs and just come up here and play everything.
And all seriousness, I was gonna say, quick question for both of you guys in the chat: between the Thing and Human and Torch, which one do you guys want to try first?
The Thing, just because I'm pretty much a tank main, so I think I'll have an easier time to get to him. Not even get to him, but yeah, I think I'll have an easier time to choose him just from always insta locking tanks. Muscle memory.
Fair.
Duelists are hard because everybody wants to play duel. Everybody already plays duelist, so or whatever it's called in this game.
Duelist.
I have a feeling that people are going to get scared off of Torch because it looks like he's a little bit more technical in a lot of ways, and I think people are going to roast if you're playing him. Like, I very much could see people being like 0-4 and they're like, switch, gone. So, yeah. But I fear those that are going to be very good with Torch.
I was gonna say it's kind of like that Storm Iron Man effect and Spider-Man to an extent, where like the DPS rolls so bad. Yeah, people are like mostly bad, but you're gonna find that one person that's like insanely good, and it feels suffocating. Like a good Spider-Man is the most scary thing to fight in Marvel Rivals because you'll never see him. He hits you, he's gone. Dude. A good Storm will kill you from far, and you'll never even notice that she was there. A good Iron Man is also very annoying. So, and I feel like Human Torch, based on the gameplay, is Iron Man and Storm and Spidey all together. And that's if you're a healer in the back,
good luck.
Have fun.
Although, shout out to the Thing's passive ability. I did check out a video where a couple creators went through and like all the things, like he can't get knocked back, knocked up, like can't get knocked up. But what I may want to use the Thing for competitive play for that reason alone. So yeah, that should be good.
Throw Wolverine, that's gonna be cool.
You can, and Wolverine can't scoop you up either. You're just gonna get like knocked, and that's it. But he can't launch you.
Yeah. Could he get Jeffed?
I think he can still get Jeffed.
Damn.
Yeah, because it's not a knockback effect.
Yeah,
it's basically like a stun or a knockback. The only thing that can stun, I think, is Doctor Strange. I know
Reed, you can't get Jeffed when you're in his little elastic stretchy thing.
Yep,
it's kind of wild.
But yeah, it's mainly like more knockback effects. So yeah.
Thor's hammer ain't gonna do shit to him.
No, Thor doesn't do anything. Venom doesn't.
Hulk. Hulk stun works, but he can't knock him back.
Yeah, in his like ultimate form.
Yeah,
which is wild. But yeah, we can nerd out about that a little bit more. But we still have a lot to get through for this live stream. So, gentlemen, with that and chat, join along. We want to know your thoughts, especially from a spoiler perspective. But Captain America: Brave New World came out last week. Over 200 mil globally, which is sweet.
100 mil domestic, right?
Yeah, over 100 mil. That was fantastic. So, gentlemen, I want to start with one question. And here, I'm going to throw this to you first. And Spider Brando will either lift you up or tear you down. No, I'm just kidding. Based on what you're saying, but this movie, I think more so than any other movie in recent times, has been extremely controversial from the standpoint of you love it or you hate it. And the reasons why someone loves it is the reason why someone hates it, and vice versa, and everything in between. And it's really been fascinating to go through and listen to people talk about the movie and really ask you, like, should I go see it? And you kind of have to pause for a second sometimes and be like, I have reasons why you definitely should, but I have reasons why if you do, you may not walk out of it and like really enjoy yourself. Even though I'm on the defensive, you probably enjoy yourself. But with that being said, Hero, how did you ultimately feel coming out of this movie, and now that you've had a chance to kind of sit on it and mull it over with kind of the world still going on and Marvel still doing its thing and DC still doing its thing? What are kind of your some general thoughts and maybe some specific moments that you can kind of point out to kind of aid to that?
Overall, still, yeah. And if you watched our non-spoiler video, please watch it. I still love it. I still had a really good time, and I know there's going to be a lot of people that didn't like it for a lot of different reasons, right? Which we can definitely dive into as they come up. But yeah, Sam felt great to me, and coming out, I just want more of him, right? And I think no MCU movie has, and I said it kind of in the non-spoiler, but the more I thought about it, and I think it's much more special now, just how well they solidified Sam as Captain America, where I don't really think any other MCU movie has done that for a side character upgrading into a main character status. None of them has done that. One could say like maybe Wanda kind of got that treatment, but I think that's a different case. This is like the first true one that like was in the sidelines constantly. He was a bench player. He's now an all-star, a starter all-star, not even a bench all-star. And yeah, I know that, for some, they're not going to like it, and that's perfectly fine. But no one can make me not enjoy this movie. I will defend this movie to the end.
Yeah.
Top 20 MCU movie. I stand by that.
We're gonna go through and give you guys our rankings again. We were gonna do it after Deadpool and Wolverine, but we kind of just made the thought to kind of pause on it before the summer, and thought it'd be a lot cleaner going in the Fantastic Four. So then we'll probably include Thunderbolts, Cap, Deadpool, and Wolverine, and like update what we had. So that'll be a super cool series that we'll have coming out. But Spider Brando, kind of same question for you. Now that you've had a chance to kind of go through, and we've talked a lot about this, just kind of in passing Discord and just kind of our personal conversations. Like you saw it with your group of friends, which is super exciting. You went through and kind of had your initial thoughts. Maybe some things changed, but now you've had a chance to kind of listen to both sides of kind of those that liked it or those that hated it and people in between. What are you thinking of the movie? How are you still liking it or not? Where are you kind of at with things post opening weekend?
I think it's grown on me a little more. I think I overheated it night one of when I saw it. I'm still sticking with my rating for it of like I think actually I shot my rating up to a 7 out of 10. I gave it a 6.5 at first. Very first 6 out of 10, like initial theater reaction, and then 6.5 once I got home. And now I think I could officially settle it at a 7. Especially after hearing you guys talk about it and bring up a lot of great points to enforce it. But it still to me had its flaws at certain times. Like Nate said in one of his chats, some of the visuals in there, you could tell they're just cardboard cutouts in the background, and that kind of just pissed me off. But that's me overlooking into it too much. It's a Marvel movie. It's, at the end of the day, that's not something I don't really care about. But I do, and have always said from the beginning and defended when I was talking to my friends about it, they were like, "Oh, what was even the point of this movie?" And it did nothing. And I was like, "Well, clearly you didn't really. I don't think we watched the same movie because you got to see Sam truly get his honoring as Captain America, and that was one of the things I said in our preview episode that I wanted to truly see of like prove to me that he is like the Cap that we want to like to rally the Avengers and everything." His Falcon and Winter Soldier didn't do it for me as much as I would have hoped for it going into the movie, but the point of this movie was to solidify that role for him. And I think one scene in there that really sold it for me was the one seeing his reaction after when Ross said he's no Steve Rogers. I know we saw that footage was all around in the trailers, but like seeing the actual scene in the movie hit different. And then seeing him talk to what was it? Having we're in spoiler.
We're
warning,
spoilers. We're spoilers. I know you're trying to like not spoil it, but you can say it.
Having Bucky at the hospital scene when Joaquin got like shot down, and Bucky going through the whole speech of kind of like why Steve chose him. I was like, damn, that hit. Like just reading I just drew a blank right there. Reading the Sam Wilson comic and just doing the prep for that comic history episode, I feel like that scene is just like straight out of certain comics when people are describing to Sam like why Steve gave him the mantle, and we really got to emphasize it. Also the fight scene with Sidewinder sold me pretty well. He took a lot of knives like champs, and I know they had like the whole Kevlar tech suit on and everything. And everyone's like, "Oh, how was he able to survive so many knives?" One, they didn't. He had a whole bunch of suits on for protection, but two, he still took that shit like a champ. And respect. He's my Cap.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say great points there with both of those, and I think that's honestly kind of two of the more like contentious scenes for some people that at least I've seen online where they were kind of like, and you know, again,
I hate Sidewinder, but I like seeing Sam fight him.
Well, I was gonna say I think for me personally, it does two things. It does somewhat establish Sidewinder. And I think the hate comes from kind of our whole theory crafting
for me. It's truly a bias hate for me.
Yeah, it's the theory crafting that we came up with, and then the disappointment of it just being Sidewinder. But I feel like if we were to take all that out and just have Sidewinder in the film, even if it is short and sweet, it's cool because how many times do you see a hero get completely ambushed like that? Normally it's an ambush, but it's set up and they're like, this feels like a trap. And then they're like, haha, it is. No, Sam's just driving and starts getting shot up.
Dude, it scared me. I can't lie. It
scared
me a little bit. I was like, what the heck?
Just starts getting shot up, throwing a grenade, no suit, no nothing. So it shows, and like you said, it shows how Sam kind of is getting to the point where he doesn't need the shield. And that's what made Steve feel like Cap as well. He doesn't need the shield to be Captain America. Sam is now, to me, at that point, he doesn't need the shield. And another scene at the end, for me personally, does that as well, is when he's talking to Ross as Red Hulk. There's nothing he can do. Like, he is at the mercy of Red Hulk. And if Ross decides that he's going to give into that rage, he's dead. That's it. There's nothing he can do. And he knows that. And I think that they do that so well in this movie of establishing the fact that, and this is where I would say that for those that think, oh, this Sam is the same Sam as Brave New or Captain America and Winter Soldier, it's not, because Sam isn't questioning if he's worthy to be Captain America. He's asking if he can do it. And those sound like the same thing, but they're not. he's trying to cope with the fact, how do I deal with all of this as just a human being?
Yeah, that pressure.
Now a human being as Captain America. Regular old human
Dude,
being.
But it is very true though, because if you go back and look at Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is one thing that like has probably irked me the most, is people being like, I feel like I just watched Falcon and Winter Soldier again, but just in a movie form, and I'm like, not even close, in my opinion, like not even close, because it was about the shield and the legacy and the mantle, and if you had the shield, you were Captain America. By the end of it, they showed you that that's obviously not it, because John Walker isn't Captain America, right?
Yeah.
This does kind of take you, and I loved in the beginning of this movie the way that they referred to Sam Wilson as Captain America. That was Cap. There were no questions of like, yes, we kind of figured out the timeline of like how long has he kind of been Cap, but like he felt established. This was, hey, there's time in between this, and this man has been Cap. Everyone accepts that he's been Cap. So it was funny, and to Dylan's point, I was a huge detractor of this movie, and it was more of like, I want the MCU to prove it to me that they can actually put out a good solo film, because I had no faith that they could tell a story for Sam Wilson in the way that they told it, because I've been missing the substance for a character since Endgame. They have fumbled every single next character who's tried to pick up the mantle and become that version of an OG Avenger that we all love and want. Sam Wilson was a B character for me going into this. And with our prep, I saw a lot of A tier things and a lot of A tier moments and scenarios that they're never going to do in this movie. So jury was out, and I was like, I just don't trust the MCU to deliver on something like this. And if they don't, it's going to get dragged through the mud. And that kind of irked me in a lot of ways. I also was fearful of how they were going to use Red Hulk, and obviously going to that part spin thing of people like coming out of this and be like, it was a Hulk movie, it wasn't a Sam movie or a Cap movie. Listen, friends, this by far and away was Captain America and Sam Wilson's story. This was his movie. I don't think that there is really any substantial way you can really come out of this and be like, this was the Incredible Hulk 2. No. No, in my opinion, that's a hard no. Were there characters and tie-ins to that? But hello, welcome to the MCU at this point in the world. You're going to have call-ins and callbacks to certain types of characters, and it all made sense in the story. And one other side thing that I was really on the fence about was the use of adamantium. I thought they were going to misuse it. I thought it was going to be cheap. I thought it was going to be quick. I thought Sam was going to get it, and that's the reason why he was able to defeat Red Hulk, which would move and shift away from what Sam can do to defeat insurmountable odds. So that's why, and even to Nate's point of like, hey, there were some like scenes that weren't in the movie. Is there a version where this character may die, like Joaquin? I really think in this movie they walked on top of the fence. And if the wind blew a certain way, they may have slipped off, and we would have gotten an absolute garbage box of a movie. I really do think so. 9 o'clock with them.
I was gonna say about 10 o'clock.
It's 10 o'clock. There we go. But I have to say, coming out of this movie, I was pleasantly surprised how they did Sam justice and made him feel, because it's his movie. He's a title character. They made him feel really, really good. I feel just as good about Sam Wilson as Captain America as I do about Deadpool coming into the MCU main, as Wolverine coming into the MCU main. Like, if we're looking, we're like, dude, we kind of have to pull some characters, like build a team. I'd be like, give me Sam, give me Deadpool, give me Wolverine, and like we'll figure the rest out. But I think we might be good. Think we have a shot. That isn't what I was expecting going into this. I didn't think I would feel that way afterwards. So, a solid 8 out of 10. I don't want to like glaze all this stuff and say this is the best movie, because I don't think it's the best movie, but I thought it was a really solid movie that did a lot of things well. And two things I want to point out real quick. I know I'm running on a monologue here, but let me know if you guys think this is a plus. Red Hulk screen time. I'm going to leave it at that. Red Hulk screen time, was that a plus for you or was it a minus?
There's a world, kind of like you said, where it's like you the breeze will blow it one way or the other. There is a world where I think Red Hulk being from the beginning of the movie all the way to the end does it really well and is fantastic. There's also a world where that doesn't necessarily do that well. Within the confines of what we got, I think was really good. I think it was really good. Do I want more of Red Hulk? Yes, but I think that comes from a general thirst of needing more Hulk content in the MCU and having a good Hulk content, because this Red Hulk was the best Hulk thing we've seen since Avengers.
I would dare say
It
this
was
is the
menace.
best version of Hulk, period.
Probably.
Of a Hulk, not the Hulk, obviously. Nate, I think you have something that we definitely probably would touch on.
Yeah. So I will say, I think one big negative I did see a lot of people say online was that the trailers, the marketing kind of ruined it for them. And I can understand that.
Every movie now.
I was going to say that is kind of every movie though, but also we do have to remember that this movie's marketing shifted after it was done, and it was because of a lot of different things going on at the time. So it's kind of, for me, I'm not saying, hey, let's excuse it, but it's something you do have to keep in the back of its mind, because Red Hulk was technically supposed to be a surprise. He was leaked #1 by the production shirts, which is now the most kind of famous logo of it, with the shield and the Red Hulk. It's a really good logo.
Yeah.
It was leaked through that, and then it was leaked because they needed toys for it. Even his suit was leaked. Yeah, well, I think the Red Hulk thing was like
this fucking dead. The Funko box got leaked a while ago. I remember when they did like a preview for it. It was supposed to come out like a year ago.
But I think that the first Red Hulk thing was a McDonald's thing.
I think it was too.
Yeah, if I remember correctly. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind when you kind of try to use that as a negative. Again, not saying that is...
Go watch our video on We Culture hurting superheroes.
Exactly, because I think this is one of those times where it's like, should you hold it against the movie that its marketing had to go completely changed at the end? And I mean, even if it wasn't, they did a good job of, in the trailer, teasing it till much later.
In hindsight, the trailers, I mean, here's the thing though. This is probably one of the best examples, in my opinion, of how, what kind of headcanon an MCU fan are you? What do you take into the movies? Because for the longest time, probably Thor, Love and Thunder, Multiverse of Madness, like that kind of summer, people had expectations, and like the Illuminati. Man, everyone had all these thoughts and these theories, and going back to the theory crafting of like, fans hurt fans, right? You hurt yourself so many times when you go into these movies. You're like, this is what I'm expecting to happen, and I'm looking for it the whole movie. And when I walk out and I look to my buddies, I'm like, bro, can you believe that they killed Professor X in 0.2 seconds? It's like, but why? Yeah, like, it's not what's wrong with that, but it's just like, what were you hoping? Like the whole X-Men come in and stop Wanda midway through the movie and it's done? Like what are we talking about here? You know what I mean? So for this to know Red Hulk's in it. Okay. And I think this is, for me personally, I'm gonna self-glaze real quick. I went in after our live before and I said, I'm gonna have an open mind in this. I'm going to take my bias, put it away. I'm going to take the story for what it's worth. And I'm not going to think about the MCU. I'm not going to think about Eternals. I'm not going to think about the Incredible Hulk. I'm not going to think about William Hurt. I'm not going to go through and think about Steve Rogers, Chris Evans. I'm not going to think about Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm going to consume the movie that they put together that is on screen in front of me. And did I like that movie? Did I like what they did throughout that time? And the answer is resounding yes. It is a really good movie from that standpoint. The only negatives I have are tying to things that may or may not happen in the future, and they're huge what ifs. even including the post-credit scene. So from that perspective, I challenge you, if you didn't like this movie, to critique it through the lens of the movie itself and remove all MCU bias of things that you may be looking for from a Frankenstein part spin aspect going into this and coming out of it.
It's funny you mentioned that and watching it that way. When you said about just taking all the MCU bias out and that's like a standalone movie, it reminds me of what James Gunn is trying to do with the DCU and have like each movie its own stories where you don't have to truly like engage with the whole universe, but like it'll still have elements to make sense and like to keep like the whole overall story going forward. And I think this movie is a pretty good example of that.
And I was
It's like
gonna
if
say,
you do watch the other stuff, it's just bonus Easter eggs. But if you don't, they still explain everything pretty damn well in this movie.
this is probably the most accessible like MCU. Like if you've never seen anything else MCU, you could jump into this and everything just kind of clicks. You know,
Case
where
in point, sorry to cut off, but
Mm.
my friend that I'm showing movies to on Friday, I saw it with him, and he hasn't seen a movie since like Black Widow. Out of the last MCU projects, he's only seen like Shang-Chi, Multiverse of Madness, and No Way Home, and still enjoyed this movie.
yeah, because every plot point connects into itself. You know, and this is where I say also, I wonder what people want or expect out of these films now, to where you have people going like, oh man, I really wish the MCU would tell a self-contained story for once. Okay, Captain America does that, and they're like, no, I don't want that. I want the multiverse. How is he gonna, where is he gonna end up in the multiverse? And it's like, well, this movie never said it was gonna do that, so why are you looking for that here? But you know what it did promise? It did promise Thunderbolt Ross. And it portrayed him in a way that made him new. He wasn't, but also completely honored everything else that they had done within the MCU, which is why I think Ross is the best side antagonist for Sam in this movie, because they have a history and he has a history within the MCU that he feels like a big deal. And then also Harrison Ford, major props to him, killed it.
Yeah, one of my last things with this really quick, and you, sorry if you might have mentioned it, somehow my TV turned on to like a different mode, but I will say this last piece because I've had a lot of people ask me, and by a lot I mean like 3, ask me, hey, I'm hearing a lot of like Harrison Ford is the best part of this movie. Is that true? And I'll say he's a really great part of this movie, and I think he brings a lot to the table. But I think at the end of the day, that helps support Sam. And he's a secondary character. This isn't Captain America and Red Hulk. And this isn't like Deadpool and Wolverine, where you can argue like who is the 1A, 1B type of thing. The way that they executed on this character, I just find it very interesting because it's kind of what we always clamor for. MCU tie-ins, callbacks, development of the characters, pull them in, and like when someone gets something and it feels good and it's fresh and new, that's like the biggest piece of the pie. And you're like, oh damn, okay. We don't have Secretary Ross who's just throwing accords at us on the table. Shout out your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. But you have a character who everything he does plays off of Sam, where he's still his own individual. So when he does get catapulted into the future with whatever project we see him in next, he's got 2 legs to stand on. And we don't have to go through this entire reintroduction of him. They took a huge leap of his character, but at the same time fed Sam, which I think is really impressive to do. And I would challenge you as a fan of the MCU, if you're watching this, name me another project to where that was organically done and the character felt really good coming out of it. I don't know many. To where it's an antagonist, not like a protagonist and a sub, not Hawkeye and Kate Bishop type of thing. not even Wakanda Forever. Like, it was really good, and it harkens back to the old MCU in a lot of ways. People are like, I wish we could go back to those days. Guys, we kind of got it, and unfortunately, I think it hurts in a way because we're showing Marvel Studios like, you think you gave us a banger, and you're like, well, fans got what they wanted, and we're just like, no, we didn't want that. That's not what we want. And like, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know. Just try again.
I made this comparison the other day, and it's like going to a pizza shop and being like, what do you guys sell? And they're like, pizza. And you're like, that's awesome. I love pizza. Do you have burgers? No, sir, this is a pizza shop. Oh, well, I'm going to order a burger. We don't sell that here. We're a pizza shop. This is a pizza movie. It's a movie trying to tell a specific story. And at no point in its marketing, both prior and new, did it try to show you that it was going to be something else. And it gave you that through and through. Throughout all the new trailers, throughout all the teasers, they told you this is going to be Sam's movie, and Ross is going to be involved with something else happening, i.e. the leader and Red Hulk. And guess what you get? You get all that.
Yeah.
People are constantly saying, I really wish we could go back to phase 2 and 3 of the MCU. And this does that because genuinely, I think this has the most phase 2, phase 3 feel out of any MCU movie that has come out between phase 4 and 5. This is a true callback in every way.
I'm going to throw one more thing in the spider right now because you bring up a good point. I was going to leave it alone, but I just want to ask. I know you didn't like Sidewinder, but is there another solo film to where you can say there were 3 antagonists to the 1 protagonist and a sidekick, that all of them came out in a lot of ways with substance to be something in the future somewhere else? That's 5 characters. Off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything. Chat, if you can think of something to where you had 3 antagonists, Sidewinder, the leader, and Ross, Red Hulk, and then Sam and Joaquin, New Falcon, come out of this, and you could plop them in a new thing, and they probably feel better, and their stories continue on. I don't know a solo film that's done. Maybe. Not even Winter Soldier. Not even Captain America Winter Soldier. Not even Captain America Winter Soldier. Because the main antagonist of that movie was not Winter Soldier.
I was literally about to say, if someone in chat can tell me the main antagonist of Winter Soldier, 10 points to you. What these points are, I don't know. But 10 points of them. They go
10
to
the
you.
Gryffindor. 10 the Gryffindor.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a movie, but
It's dude,
trying
it's
to
like
think.
it's 100%, man. 100%.
No, they're not antagonists.
Bam.
Yeah. Alexander Pierce.
Now throw that on marketing. You have freaking Cap with the shield and then Alex Pierce on the other side of it. That's butt.
Yeah. That's
Congrats, 10 points.
Nate. Yeah. Congrats, Nate. Yeah, but like,
I don't know what 10 points.
Who remembers Alexander Pierce? Like, genuine. Because I can guarantee you that anybody that talks about Winter Soldier does not remember Alexander Pierce. When you talk about Brave New World, you will remember Ross. You will remember Leader. And even though he's not super great for, theory crafting, you probably will remember Sidewinder for part of it.
Fucking guy.
Giancarlo Esposito making us hate him and love him in the span of 6-7 months.
He trolled
hard. He trolled hard.
He did it to himself.
You know why I think I didn't like Sidewinder as much? Because I missed the first 10 minutes of the movie. I can't lie. The AMC did not play that. They did not play their trailers properly. And you got to see him like steal the adamantium thing, right? In the beginning.
At the church and stuff, and
The
have his
church,
moment.
yeah. I missed that. So I have just that one trailer scene that we saw. And then his other like where Sam goes to him scene, and I'm like, that's it. And it just feels I think that's pretty much why I don't like him as much. I gotta find some bootleg. No, I don't gotta find a
I know,
bootleg.
no. We can't say
No,
that.
no,
We can't say that on streams. Cross it out. Cross it out.
Cross it out.
I gotta wait for it to come out on Disney Plus and pay for my subscribing Disney Plus membership and
Yep,
watch
you
it again.
better not. You better not sell that boat. Anyways, real quick, Nate. I love you, Nate. I love Thwip Media. Go check out Nate's channel. Nate, I have to substitute Pierce's name with this with the leader and tell me that it's not the same thing.
Here's the thing. At no point should and Nate, no hate at all. At no point should the adjective great be with Pierce. And none. Because Pierce is more, I would associate Pierce as more Hydra. It's Hydra, not Pierce. It is all of Hydra. He's the what would you call it? The main face of it that they go against. But at no point am I like, wow, I want to see Pierce again. Wow, I can't wait to watch Captain America, Winter Soldier to see Alexander Pierce. I can't wait.
Not my top on a rewatch. However, I gotta say the leader did check those boxes for me specifically. Removing everything I know about the comic version of the leader. This specific MCU leader, I think, satisfied what he was supposed to do with what they portrayed. Could he be better? We're going down a rabbit hole. The intelligentsia, She-Hulk, the jokes, all that kind of stuff. Like, that was some great theory crafting and speculation around that time. But this version, the way that they deployed him as kind of, again, that mastermind to things and helping build Ross to make Ross who he is, like the leader stood Ross up who helped stand up Sam. Like those pieces are all intertwined. And then the leader challenges Sam at the very end before he goes into his big fight. I thought he played his role really well. Dude, the Pierce gang.
They're non-existent, buddy.
Pierce gang. Yo, Nate, please make a Thwip Media sponsor like shirt with like Alexander Pierce on it and like Pierce gang or something. I'd buy one. I would buy it. I would buy it. I would buy it. Yeah, I mean, I think we've said a lot of good things. One last question for it. Whatever grade you have this movie at, what do you think could have been included in the movie to take it to the next rank? If you have an 8 out of 10, what could they have done to make it a 9? If you had it as a 6, what could they have done to a 7? If you had it a 3, what could they do to make it a 4 or 5? You want to tackle it first, Esme?
I think for me to put it to an 8, I don't want to, but for me to put it at an 8,
you just can't? Like, what?
Well, I wasn't ready. This is gonna be on the spot.
No, oh, that's what you meant.
Put it to put it to an 8. I think I would need a little bit more action scenes. I know we got a good amount of action scenes, but if we had like more longer ones and like the final fight, I wish it was a little longer. I understand for what it was, or like the fight with Red Hulk, but I wish it was a little longer. And I wish this kind of ties into the marketing. I wish they kind of hid the leader a little bit more. It made that more of like the shock factor. Because I feel like the way they marketed it, they obviously they had to deal with the whole Red Hulk thing getting leaked, and that was supposed to be their little mystery surprise thing. I think knowing that they were going full in on like Red Hulk, they should have had the leader a little bit. I know they didn't really market him too much, but even just a little silhouette, or just I don't think he should have really known. Oh, but he got leaked too, didn't
I
he?
was gonna say he got leaked too.
Everybody got fucking leaked in this.
The first big leak besides the toys was
It was the original head, right?
The original head.
Or the
It was
image
that
of Kevin's
artwork
head.
that
Yeah,
that dude
yeah.
got sniped on Twitter for.
God, I wonder if they're still alive.
No, probably not. They're probably in the Echo 1 base from the movie right now, to be honest.
True.
Yeah, they're the ones being experimented on with gamma radiation.
Fair enough.
So Nate saying fix visuals, clean up the plot conveniences, tweak leader just a little bit, give Sidewinder into the reins. I've heard this plot convenience thing, and I'm curious. What do you mean by plot conveniences? I feel like I've asked this question a few times, both on Discord and people that I know personally, and no one can tell me what the plot conveniences are, so we can actually talk about them. I'm curious what they are.
And dude, I think we kind of touched on it a little bit in our non-spoiler, to where there are moments, I think there's like 3 big moments where it feels like there's a jump to the next. I think one's after like Ross and Ruth and Sam are in the boardroom, and then he's like, oh yeah, let him in. All of a sudden he's like, oh, get out of here, you're not gonna. I'm like, bro, what's the switch up for? Like, what are we doing? But it did kind of make sense as they kind of went on. And then there was another one where right before he became, Admiral Ross again, I think there was like, it was Ross related to kind of move into the next thing. But I don't think they were overly egregious. But I do think those blips would have been filler moments. I think that they made the right choice of just moving to the next thing versus like, I don't know, like what's the leader's plan feels, but isn't that his thing though? Like his thing was all like brains, like it was probability based, and it's been a long-term plan put into motion. But I do think
I think the one what the fuck? I think the one big plot convenience, not really big, but there's one scene where this dude's probabilities where it's like, oh, I didn't think you weren't not gonna turn around at that one scene. I'm like, why would you think that he's not gonna turn around to stop or to turn around to go back to Isaiah after the whole potential bombing or potential danger he had when he was getting moved into solitary? I can't talk.
I'm trying to remember the scene.
And he was telling Sam, he's like, oh, my probability said that you were gonna turn around and go to Isaiah instead of actually continuing to come here. And that's kind of just, I know it's very small, but I'm like, you would think that this dude would think of like all different probabilities. And
wait, right here, real quick. I was a really short thing to that, because I think that the way that they used the leader was more so from an audience perspective to say, I didn't think Sam was this, but Sam is now this.
yeah,
And it would just look.
I understand it in that perspective, but I don't know, it just feels weird. Like, I feel like it kind of, a lot of the scenes, it seemed like when he was wrong, kind of like undervalued his smartness.
Do you think he wanted to be wrong? I think there is a world where the leader knows, but the leader also doesn't. Yes, he's this diabolical thing, but even if you go back to kind of who Stearns was back in the 08 Hulk, there are selfish motivations that he has, but there are parts of his personality where I think he wants to be stopped. He wants to be challenged. He wants someone to figure it out. He wants to play the game and gamble and roll the dice to say, if I'm right, I'm right. But there's a part of me that opens the door for me to be wrong, even though he could have just shut it all down and been Zola 2.0. And I don't think that was the case with him.
That's a good point.
I mean, so they're saying how like Sam coming in. I think to me, it's like the plan is more so revolving around Ross. Like the plan isn't Sam, it's getting Ross's he even says it's to destroy his legacy. So Sam is just kind of there. Like, he doesn't need Sam. Sam is just now coming in and making those odds be defied. He even says it where I think it's like one of the first or second times that he talks to him where he's like, you've manipulated or like taken the odds in a way that I didn't expect you to. So stop.
Yeah. And he kind of doubles down on that at the very end when he shows up and has this like Shigaraki Midoriya moment on the bench in the park where I'm like, oh, okay. So he's just going to show up and do it. All right. Got it. And Sam, I just think that really solidifies the fact that Sam is that guy. Sam's been grappling with certain things, but we as the audience have seen Sam change. And now this is the type of hero that he really is. And that story is being told through the leader. So when he does defy the odds, I think the odds are Sam can't be this. Sam isn't this. Everyone's always questioning who Sam is and questioning his character. And does he need the serum? Does he not? And I think they just squash all that in this movie. And that's why he feels so good afterwards, is because he has moments like that with Bucky and the leader and Ross to ultimately stand tall. And even with Joaquin to be kind of that leader, it's to just be, leader, to be the guy. Like, you don't make those choices and defy this stuff if you're not like the man. Like, Sam's the man. And so that's why that personally didn't buy. I could be making that up, but maybe that's my headcanon. I didn't feel it was too convenient. But at some point, it's an MCU movie. They're going to tell you that this is just going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I think people, though, have taken it to a point where it's like, oh, it ruined the movie for me. And I'm like, I just don't understand quite why it's so egregious when, for example, you have people like Jesus Christ, Zemo, who you could argue some of these same points to, where it's like, how did he kind of know this? It's too convenient. He shouldn't be able to just walk in these places and do these things, XYZ, but yet he does. You know what I mean? We excuse it for one mastermind, but not the other.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. What was your thing, and what could they have changed?
I think that was your question. What was? Oh, for me, the more I think about it, I think I agree with SB's, where I think just a few more action scenes. I think I like the political like thriller aspect, but I also, one other thing for me, Isaiah Bradley. I think they definitely could have delved into their relationship a teensy bit more. They did a good job of it, and I think they did a good job of establishing why Isaiah means so much to Sam and vice versa. Just think if they kind of went more into the past and maybe somehow tied it into Ross, tied it into Leader a teensy bit more, that would have been great, instead of him just being kind of like which I still do like the point of him just being collateral damage and Sam has to save him. If they maybe tied it in a little bit more to make it personal for him.
That for me is one of two things. One, I think that they had a really big opportunity when Sam first introduces Joaquin to Isaiah Bradley, and we kind of have this thing of like young buck, tech savvy guy in the chair, but he's actually, and by the way, he's probably one of the coolest guys in the chair in the MCU, bar none. Sorry, Ned, you can just sit over there by yourself. But I think that they had a cool opportunity to like showcase Isaiah. I know it's like kind of buried and he's kind of off the books and stuff like that, but I think it would have been so cool if there was like a leaked video that was on Joaquin's phone that showed him as Captain America back in the day. And he's like, no, dude, we kind of know you. And I think that would have like hit with Isaiah to be like, oh, shoot, like I didn't know that. One, I don't know how to use a phone. So like I've never seen that before because I just don't know how to use it. But like, no, man, you're not forgotten. Like people actually do know you and kind of know what you're about. Right now, you're just, he's more of a conspiracy theory type of thing. But like, even look at us today. Like we have crap all over the place and footage and images of all things that like people are like, how do they do it? I thought that would have been a pretty sweet moment. And then, to be honest with you, I probably would have added something with the raft and given a pseudo Shang-Chi, Wong versus Abomination type feel where we have characters that are kind of separate. Don't include them in the post-credit scene. By God, don't do that. But we have a moment where they go to a place and we get to see that, again, there's been a huge time gap where Sam's been Captain America. I don't think it'd be far-fetched to know that him as Captain America have captured and stopped other types of villains and put them in the raft. And that's like, bro, you come across Cap, you're going to the raft. And just giving us kind of like a quick non-Amazing Spider-Man 2 look at some sort of like armory crap, but just be like, bro, is there a mutant in there? Like, is there some sort of like other type of character? Like a little tease of something like that to just kind of get people to kind of talk a little bit more, but to help show that like Cap's been Cap, but not Captain.
I like it.
Yeah, I like that too.
I would like to see more Joaquin too. I wanted to add that. A point I wanted to bring up during the non-spoiler episode that if they were to do a Young Avengers movie, I would definitely be there opening day if Joaquin is in it.
Dude, Loki,
That's
I
how
thought he
much
was
soul
gonna
I got from
suck.
this.
I genuinely went into this movie coming and thinking I was not gonna like his character, just kind of like based off Cap and Winter Soldier, where he was just kind of there, but they established him really well to where I think maybe if he's not like a part of like the actual team, because I think he's too old technically, he'd be just, I don't know, but not Young Avenger status.
I mean, bro, if Kate Bishop can do it, I mean, maybe Joaquin can do it. He looks young. He looks good.
True.
Looks good.
Maybe.
I'm
not saying he's not a young person. I'm just saying, like, if we're thinking true Young Avenger.
No, he's going to be on the Champions team, all right? He's going to be a champion.
But if he's like, kind of like you said, the man in the chair for them, if he's kind of like, if Hawkeye's like the main leader, then he can be like right under Hawkeye.
Bro, with that forehead scar is like 80. He's gotta be close. I don't know. Do we know?
Who's Scar? Who cares about Scar in the MCU?
The leader does. The probability is going to show up about 78%.
Doing that Scott Steiner math right there.
Ah, bro. You know,
I think they had a missed opportunity to make a joke out of that, to be honest.
I wonder if that was ever on the cutting floor. I don't know, man. Dude, it's frustrating that the Hulk family sucks in the MCU for the most part, and they're so separate.
And they're all over the place. Well, I mean, they're together now. Technically, they're all in She-Hulk, but like, they're so far removed for what could make them good. And quick aside, for those criticizing the leader's new look, this is why an Immortal Hulk movie would not work in the MCU.
Oh,
because if you didn't like that, have fun liking an Immortal Hulk. You're not gonna. What if Jen walks in as Isaiah's? See, that would have been pretty decent. That
I would have been cool with
connection.
That.
Yeah,
I would have been cool with that. Really would have. Should we talk Daredevil after this?
I was gonna say, what if I one up you and say, what if Matt Murdock walked in as Isaiah's lawyer?
Technically, you're talking about the lawyer. I was gonna say technically, I think there's still people from like Defenders that are locked up in the raft, so that would have been cool to tie into that, especially after hearing what Brad just said about potentially bringing back some Defenders people.
Sam walks into the raft with Matt Murdock, and he's like, "I'm here to see my client. It's Luke Cage," and we're like, "Shoot, my brother's here to get out another brother."
I would like that.
Let's go. Even though
I'm recruiting for the Avengers,
dude. Yeah, you know what? Okay, true last thing. This has been a really good conversation, and truthfully, I appreciate all of you that are still watching this and participating in the chat, because we're not here to bash anyone or tear anyone down or say like your thoughts are wrong. We have our opinions, but we want to hear your opinions, and it is truthfully back to what we stand for here, enhancing the experience, because there are questions that we have about this, whether it's from Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man all the way to Daredevil and what's upcoming. Like, we like that because it helps us in so many ways get that difference of opinions. But what was I going to say? What did you say? I just lost my train of thought. I'm trying to remember our little tagline. Just completely escaped me.
Talk about our perspectives and enhancing.
No, before that. The Raft, Matt Murdock,
Luke Cage, Avengers.
Oh!
Showing up.
Do you guys wish that Sam actually recruited Avengers? This is one of those big MCU things. Like, I thought it was going to happen and it didn't happen, and I hate the movie because of it, that I've seen online. Do you guys wish we saw him recruiting other Avengers characters or had Avengers cameos in this?
No, the fact that we got what we got at the end of him saying how it's time to form the Avengers again, that's all I needed. Cameo would have been cool, but it would have taken away from Sam.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with that a little bit. I think you could have like one, but it would have to be someone lesser, if that makes sense. And I think your best bet would have been going to like a Shang-Chi, where he's like, hey, I heard about you from Captain Marvel. I need to bring back the Avengers.
Yeah.
And it's just Shang-Chi. I think that could have been a better post-credits instead of the leader talk. I think maybe the leader talk should have been like the end, just to kind of like tie into the MCU.
Yeah.
And then the post-credit is him going to an Avenger finally. Because then that way you can also finally bring back Shang-Chi.
You know what's funny about this, though, is there is a world where that happens and people complain and they're like, they just ripped off the end of Incredible Hulk in this movie. Or and Tony showing up with Ross and that kind of stuff. Like, I feel like the internet maybe not have let that live, but I do agree. If they wanted to include something, I think that there's a world where like Sam goes to Joaquin and he's like, who are we going to check out first? And he's like, I did some research. You know what I mean? Like, kind of, that's like Justice League-ish in a way.
Yeah, true.
It's comic booky-ish. That's what they do in comics all the time.
It's all comics.
It's everything. Everywhere. All at once.
Yeah.
Sorry, I said everything, and I gotta always finish that
fantastic movie.
Yeah. So good. So
fantastic movie. One semi-quick question. Maybe. I know we keep saying it, but I think we're getting late on time. So we might call an audible, but I think this one might kind of better fit with what we're talking about with Cap. But Sam goes to recruit the Avengers. Who's your core 6 Avengers for Sam's team?
Ooh.
So you gotta pick five other members. Sam is number 6.
Are we all in agreement? Shang-Chi is at least one member.
Probably. So you got 4 picks. Who's he going with?
Shuri.
Ooh.
He's got that relationship with Shuri.
Ooh.
Until
he gets busted by a squid. Just kidding.
Trying to think who else is there. You might try to recruit Hawkeye again, but Hawkeye's history.
Bro, Hawkeye can't hear him.
Bro, Advil man, bro. He's like, I can't do it.
I like it though. All right. So that's what? Sam, Shang-Chi, Hawkeye for you?
I need a strategist.
Yeah,
I was like, I thought one of you guys were just there, but I'm thinking of like team comp, and I'm like,
I didn't even think about that.
You got DPS.
Wait, no. So wait, okay. So
it's all DPS.
You said Sam, right? Shang-Chi, Hawkeye, Shuri. You got 2 more SB.
Bro, you insta-locked 4 DPS, bro.
Team comp is looking terrible.
Does Strange count?
He's tanky.
Yeah,
he's a Vanguard.
I'll do Strange.
All right, you got 1 more.
No heals, bro. Team no heals. Team no heals.
What freaking heroes are there in the MCU right now that are on Earth?
They're all on the Guardians.
Yeah.
I was gonna say no one.
There's no
in
Luna
space.
Snow in the MCU yet. Or Cloak and Dagger. Oh, there's the Hulu Cloak and Dagger.
I was gonna say, oh no.
I'm just
No,
kidding. It
but
doesn't have to
Jane,
be that.
who
I
do
don't
you
know.
want? Like, who would
Yeah.
you pick?
I'd say Ant-Man would probably be my final spot. No,
I'm shocked you don't have the person who you
I kind of am too. If it's
who you
I'm
venerate
looking,
on your
bro, I'm
body.
looking.
well, okay, I don't want Spider-Man to be an Avenger, so
You don't?
we talked about
Oh.
this.
Mm.
We've done an
No,
episode
we
about
did.
this. If you should
We did.
join the Avengers and / or like just like be in cahoots with them like the last time, and I'm in the cahoots boat.
Rhodey?
I was testing you to see if you stuck to your guns, and you did. I appreciate
Wow.
that.
Wow.
You just forgot
I like
about
that.
that and wanted me to make a fool of myself, thinking I forgot about my goat, which I almost
No,
did for a
Stafford.
second. I can't.
I was gonna say, I know you did because you didn't bring him up instantly. That's how, like I know he forgot.
No, but truly, I don't want him to be like an Avenger.
No, that's fair though.
So
That's fair.
my official list would be Shang-Chi, Sam, Doctor Strange. I would. Now this is tough because I'm looking at Nate's list, and they make some people make sense, but Shuri, I think Shuri's definitely up there. Sam would definitely reach out to Shuri.
You got two more.
Rhodey, I think he would reach out to Rhodey as well. Nate's heavy influence here.
Is that
And
team
the
getting busted by the Thunderbolts?
Final one would be someone from the Thunderbolts, actually. I was going to say Yelena. Just
Okay.
kidding. He wouldn't talk to Yelena. He'd go after Bucky first.
Buck, I need you. Buck, I need you. I'm getting the band back together.
Bucky would.
Sorry, Sam. I just turned into a shadow because the void smushed me on the ground. Anyways. Hero, who you got? I like those lists, by the way.
I like that. Yeah. All right. So I got Shang-Chi, Sam. I do really think that if they're gonna they might just go the way of introducing a new character through the Avengers, like a new Avengers movie
Sentry.
or the team. And I was gonna say, you stole it.
Don't
from
play.
me.
No, are you
No,
serious?
dead serious. Dead serious. Part of what makes these teams fun is when you have an unpredictable person on the team. In the original, it was the Hulk.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
You
Okay.
need someone to kind of take that spot. Put Sentry in there.
Okay.
They don't know if they can fully trust him. He's trying, and I imagine like if they were to do it, I don't think they're going to, but if they were to do it, it would be kind of down the I'm trying to seek redemption road, but still having the voices inside of me, and that plays out really well, I think. So yeah, I would definitely put the Sentry. Like no questions. Yeah, Sentry all the way. If I'm insta locking anybody, it's Sentry. Like click.
Choose your hero.
Yeah. Click. I'm surprised people also didn't say this. Thor.
I don't know if he means unexpected, like unpredictable in terms of like loose cannon. Like he went rogue and he kind of messed up the Hela character and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. Not unexpected. Like he shouldn't have been. Like unpredictable.
Mhm.
Like as a
a
person.
wild card.
Moon Knight,
Yeah.
I was thinking about Moon Knight, put it in there. But
Moon Knight.
I don't think we'd have any role. I don't see Sam reaching out to him.
I don't see Moon Knight coming out in the Avengers. Sadly, perfect world he is. But yeah, I do think Shuri's in there too.
Brain of bullshit go.
I do think Shuri's in there as well.
Yeah, they need the money and the tech.
And I wouldn't be surprised
if everyone gets vibranium.
If everybody gets vibranium, but you add a little adamantium in there.
Don't you dare say Sidewinder.
Yeah, boy.
We'll end this stream right now if he says Sidewinder.
No, Wolverine.
Huh.
Wolverine, and then Captain Marvel. So my 6, Sam.
Yeah, bro, you said like 10 people.
Did I say 10 people?
I don't know.
Let's see who I cut really quick. So Sam, Shang-Chi, Sentry, Thor, Shuri. Oh, I do have to cut one. I'm gonna say Captain Marvel.
Ooh.
Over Wolverine. I'd see him reach because they already have like a relationship. So Captain Marvel.
Okay. I'm trying to make this quick. My team would go Sam, Shang-Chi, Spider-Man. Spider-Man will be an official Avenger. It's going to fill my Tony role here. Shuri. I would put She-Hulk on the team, personally. I would put She-Hulk on the team. I've just been canceled many times over.
Everybody hates you now.
100%. That gives me 5. And if I'm being honest with you guys, I personally would love to see the Wasp. Not Ant-Man. He's on my top 5. If I could get rid of any MCU character, he's literally in contention for 1 or 2. But I think the Wasp would be super cool to see actually get a decent run with an Avengers team. Shout out Earth's Mightiest Heroes. But I think Wasp would be legit.
You just spawned something. You should do a delete 1 MCU characters.
Why is homegirl from Secret Invasion? What's her name?
No, that's just her in Solo. Fuck, I always forget her name at the show. Amelia
Your
character.
Yeah.
Gaia.
Gaia, yeah.
Throw Gaia in the trash bin, bro.
Yeah, bro. She's just sitting in a pub with a big old Drax arm up there and like, hit me.
Doomsday comes out, man. You guys are gonna be surprised.
Dude, okay, I'll say this right now. If Gaia shows up, I might regret this because it's gonna happen now. But if Gaia shows up in Avengers Doomsday, I will go to a pool with a diving board and I'll do a triple backflip off it.
Bro, you got to be able to do it. That's something we can do here. Are you able to do a triple? A triple?
If it's high enough, I might be able to.
Please. Sold. I want to see it happen.
I was gonna say I could if it's tall enough.
All right, get Gaia in Doomsday now. Call the Russos.
We'll live stream it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm so curious how they will ever attempt to wrap up anything that happened in Secret Invasion.
Dude, that show is just what's gonna happen? Yeah.
Watch Doom's gonna. That's why he's coming to 616. He wants to harvest. That's exactly his motivation.
Dog, if they ever if they ever somehow tie any main villain back into the Harvest Secret Invasion anything, again, double to triple back.
If this is the one universe that caused every single hero pretty much in existence at the time.
Dumb.
In that one battle. Doom.
Come on, guys. You know Doom needs
going around different multiverses.
No, listen.
Blood from these people so much easier.
Doom from his world needs to harvest in order to save his wife, Susan Doom, from a deep, deep sleep. That's his motivation. I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a good guy. That's going to be the plot. She's in a deep sleep.
You mean Pepper Doom?
Pepper Doom?
Or Salt Doom?
Salt Doom? That's her dog.
Paprika Doom.
His daughter comes in and she's like, "Daddy, I hate you 3,000. I hate you 3,000.
And Doom you 3,000.
Doom approved."
Oh God, you gotta love the Doom sequel.
We're getting closer. We're getting closer.
Oh my God, it's just all the evil AC/DC songs. Flies into Dirty Deeds instead of Thunder Truck.
Oh man, that's funny. That's funny. That's funny. Last question before we wrap up. Did Cap 4 make you more excited for Thunderbolts?
Yes.
SB?
No.
Oh, really?
I feel like you don't have much. I feel like it didn't correlate whatsoever. I'm sold on Thunderbolts just from its marketing and trailers already.
You were sold on. That's fair. That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair.
I mean, it had Bucky in it, and I think it made me curious to see like his character and see like how they're gonna tie into his congressional run into the movie.
Yeah, I feel like
Bucky for
I
Congress.
don't know. I'm not like it didn't really do much to like move the needle any higher than Thunderbolts was already high for me.
That's fair.
You know what I am interested to see that I didn't think I would be, that I'm more interested in now, is seeing Ross's influence at this point of him kind of getting into the government, and now seeing Val as kind of what feels like she's a high-ranking person within the US specifically, and like what is her end game?
Yeah.
Personally, because I think we're at the point now where like we need some more stuff from Val. Like you've been kind of messing around for a few years. Like what's your motivation? Like let's kind of move on from her.
Tower.
Yeah. I want to know more about that, because of like Ross is done, someone else is stepping in for the 90th time. Like who's the next person to take over? Like there's a lot of takeover opportunities with the Thunderbolts movie, and I think Cap kind of just like, we don't have an Avengers and we really don't have a leader. So like who's really running the super show now? That's like kind of like Val and then Thunderbolts in a lot of ways next, which kind of feels okay from a chronological standpoint, even though this movie's probably gonna be like 4 years before the Cap 4. Just kidding. I don't know. I love the MCU. I hate it. I love it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that was a live stream. I know we said we would talk Daredevil, but we've run about 30 minutes over, and all of us have to go to work tomorrow, unfortunately. However, we did talk Invincible, Nate.
In the beginning.
Don't worry, it'll get its own dedicated episode, though.
It's going to get more. It's going to get more now.
I think it definitely deserves its own spotlight. Both of these do. And I think just right now, since we've gone over time, we won't be able to give it the shine it deserves.
Plus, you guys had a full-blown conversation about Daredevil like 2 hours ago.
Yeah. It'll be okay. You know where they had it? On Discord. So if you're not on our Discord, make sure to join us there, because the things that we either don't get to talk about here or are going to talk about later, we talked before on there. Just ask Nate and everybody else on our Discord. So they eat first. Remember that.
And Nate, Invincible watch party tomorrow night.
Invincible watch party tomorrow night.
We have Daredevil Netflix series that we're going to be talking about. We have Daredevil comics, mainly Born Again, that we're going to be talking about. We have the Invincible finale episode, which is always great fun, that we're going to be talking about. So promise you, chat, there will be dedicated specific videos where we will be talking about all these things and more in perfect time.
Yeah. A MCU redo for the Kingpin as well. We haven't done that in a minute, and I don't think we've done a character specific MCU redo. They've all been shows or movies, so this is our first one where we're going to delve into a dedicated character. And I think the best one, not only to correlate with the Daredevil hype, but also probably the best character to just redo overall, Kingpin in general. Because oof. But yeah, everybody, thank you so much for watching us. If you're not a subscriber, make sure to subscribe. Follow us on all our social medias. TikTok, Instagram, all that good jazz. But everybody, once again, we have been your favorite trio of hosts. Spider Brando up top, Lou up top as well, myself, Hero Scroll. Everybody, thank you so much for watching and joining us. Have a great rest of your evening, but always remember to do the 3 most important things that we preach here at Point 3 Podcast. That is, keep watching, keep reading, and keep nerding out. Have a great night, everybody.